had enough.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out the reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, he commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing, especially without Vaseline or anything like that, Seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, "Any last wish before you die?" Yo, reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, "Fill your claw, you son of a bitch." Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Hey, good evening and welcome to the Tuesday night edition of Into the Night with me, Sexy Santa, Sean Kelly. yeah, people still call me Sexy Santa, so I'm pretty good for that. Wait till we get around Christmas, man. I'm going to go all out. No, I'm just joking with you. Welcome to the show. I want to thank UPRN Talk Radio 105.3 Mississippi, 107.7 New Orleans for allowing me to share 2 hours of my time with you on Sunday nights and on Tuesday nights from 8:10 to 9:10 p.m. on this wonderful platform that I have. A couple of announcements I want to share. First one, don't forget my dear friend CL Thomas. Her podcast comes on right after mine at 9:10 or 9:15, one or the other. And her guest tonight, okay, is Brooke Ashley. And they're going to talk about evidential mediumship. That sounds pretty interesting. And after my show, go over and show her some love. Check her show out. Let's see who we got in the house. We got, hey, Michelle, good to see you. Bob, good to see you. Kurt, as always. Mark Eddy, how are you? As a joke, gets a smile in here. But listen, tonight I have a good friend of mine. Not tonight, buddy. Not tonight. No, Ciel's on after me. There was a little mix-up, dude. So tonight is just an hour, and my Sunday night show, starting September 1st or in the month of September, then I'll just be going back to an hour show because we have the two brothers who are Navajo in um, are coming on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. So my guest tonight, okay, is a friend of mine, and he just wrote a book. His latest book is The Ohio Valley's Antiquarians. I think I pronounced that right, and what they discovered. Okay, so little AI overview. Thank God for AI for this stuff. An antiquarian is someone who studies, collects, and deals in antiquities, which are old or rare objects of historical or artistic interest. Hey, Patrick Keller, it's my brother. How are you, bro? Good to see you. They may focus on artifacts, manuscripts, historical sites, or even old and rare books. Essentially, they are interested in the past, especially through material remains and evidence, often with a focus on imperial aspects of history. Antiquarians are primarily concerned with the physical remnants of the past, such as artifacts, monuments, and documents. They are not necessarily historians. Um, they're distinct. They are distinct from professional historians who primarily rely on written text. And what else we got about it? The new antiquarians is a recent trend involves a new generation of collectors, often younger, who are drawn to antiques and historical artifacts, sometimes incorporating them into modern living spaces. So that is what Mark's newest book is back about. And without further ado, I want to introduce you to Mr. Mark Eddy. Hey, Mark, good to see you, buddy.
Hey, Sean. Hi, Roomies. You have
Oh,
Z-Sun in there.
yeah, that's Kevin.
Actually got to hear Six Gun Joe
Mm-hmm.
and get me wound up for the show. It's been a while since I heard that, but I feel honored.
Hey, Joni McGillick, Patrick, my brother Patrick says hi, Mark.
Yeah,
And
Patrick.
Kevin got it right. Don't whistle in the night is the show. Okay, I'll remember that, Kevin. I'm really looking forward to them following me, man. They're here with me. Okay. Wow, Mark Eddy live. He says.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that I was in chat, and all of a sudden I appear on the show. How about that? The portal.
So tell us a little backstory about yourself.
I live down the river from you, and there's book. Uh, there it is.
Oh, lakes and lizards and
Lakes, Lizards, Linton, and Leverett. That kind of summarizes the book, and there's a little fossilized fern in a modern one. It's kind of going for the like Sistine Chapel with God and Adam's fingers touching, or like the E.T. However you want to look at it.
Right.
So it's kind of going for that look, but the books came about I was talking with a college anthropology friend of mine about what where should have had that
You all right
ready.
there?
Yeah, I'm fine. I don't know what I did with the book. I just had it right here. No, I misplaced. And anyhow, uh, there it is. Gosh, it flipped over. She uh, Dr. Cheryl Clausen had wrote this book about 15 years ago, and in the appendix of it, she's analyzing all the site data from different river valleys in the eastern U.S. You get Tennessee River Valley and
Right.
northern
Oh.
Alabama, Green River Valley. So, and when you flip over, the Wabash River Valley, you flip over,
That's yeah.
to
There's people that can't read that, Mark, but my brother has a question for you. Hi,
okay.
Heidi. Good to see you. Good to
Oh,
see you.
Heidi's.
She says,
Should we start the whole show over again because Heidi's here?
no worries. You got to hang around until first break because I got to play her favorite song, Six Gun Show. My brother has a question for you. On your book, how long for the research?
Boy. It was quite a few years. It's, you get the pandemic shutting down museums, so that slowed things down for a couple years. There was a lot of driving around, getting home at night, and putting my notes into the document. So I don't know. I was probably I've probably been working on it for I don't know, 6 years maybe, but
Okay.
uh, there are other parts in the upcoming series that I was writing simultaneously. So just Lakes by itself, I don't know, it's a couple years. I hope that
So is
answers
this like a
Patrick's.
trilogy? Is this like a trilogy you're putting together?
Maybe a quadrilogy. I think there's going to be some another publication with some uh, information I really didn't get to, fully develop. Might have slowed the reading down too much to start including every single example. But there are some other things that I would like to um, make readers aware of in a later publication. But that,
Okay.
and so when Cheryl, uh, I was talking to Cheryl, and I said, and I was looking at doing a book review for this book, and you know, I said, why is your information for the Upper Ohio River Valley blank? And she's like, not a whole lot of information that's been published on it. Why don't you go to the museum since they're so close by you and see if you can uh you know see if there's some new reports that came in, any new artifacts that were donated to the museum, things like that. So that was basically how it started. And she'd read rough drafts, and she was recommending, well, go back further in time, and you can show the cultural evolution. So that became like, that's going to be like parts 2 and 3. And the lakes and lizards, that's going back even farther in time.
Okay.
But
Oh,
it sets up why you have so many uh, uh, it was sparsely populated like 10,000 years ago, but what else do you have going on at that time? So that's going to be some of the later, like the next sections I'm working on.
Well,
So
look
then,
who popped in. Hey, Joe Montello. Good to see you.
there he is.
Weird people. I just stopped by. I was doing archives. I got senior archive running, so I stopped by and see what you guys were up to.
Oh,
I just join the discussion.
I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just kind of I can't never hear, so I said it popped in.
I'm just glad. I'm glad you're here.
right.
I need to put
Yeah.
put my glasses up here. Be like Joe.
Well,
Yeah. There's
brother
always a
has
pair on my head,
question.
man.
My brother has a couple questions for you there, Mark. He wants to know, is your book on Amazon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
And,
just
he
look
has
up my
another one
name.
for you. How they look for you on Amazon?
Just Mark R. Eddy, Eddy.
Okay.
And you put in lakes, lizards, Linton, and Leverett. That would. I'm sure that would probably be the only title that would come up like that.
Okay. He wants to know, how long have you been writing books?
This is my first one, but I got some of my first publications started with Joe, and when I was working on with November Hansen on the ICAR report.
Yeah, poor. Well, you see, she thought that part gave her cancer, man. You don't remember that? She thought that report gave her cancer. I still got it somewhere. It's it's on some computer around the house. No, she called me one night when she got breast cancer because she used to keep it under her bed. And she said, Joe, I think this damn report gave me cancer. We had 5 directors at one time got breast cancer. 5 within like 3 months of each other. And she said, I think this thing gave me breast cancer. I said, well, just wrap it up. Send it to me in a computer. Send it to me in paper. And don't worry about it anymore. Take care of yourself and don't worry about it. And she retired shortly after that. But it was a shame to see her go. Eddie, you should drop by. Carmen does our booking for a Saturday show, which is the Arthur's Quill. So we do all authors on the network goes through there. So I have to get you information when we get done with the show today. I'll get it over to him, and he can get you booked on there. It's just a bunch of authors come on there. I mean, from everywhere, every walk of life you can think of been on there. Most of them are either famous authors or winners of Writers of the Future or something. But we do a lot of other authors besides it. Like you can see, I don't know if you can see all the books behind me. It's all stuff, by the way, that'll get given away this Christmas. Unless it's autographed, then well, even some of them will get given away as well. So if you get a copy you want to send me, look, see, we put them, if they stay there until we sell them or give them away, one or the other. And matter of fact, I'm glad I said that because I got a book I got to move. Wolf Moon's, where the hell did I go? This one. And if you ever find yourself in a bind on a story or trying to write something, this guy, he's a good friend of mine, Wolf Moon, how to write a howling good story. I tell you what, there's a lot of information there, not just for writing fiction, but for writing nonfiction as well. And this sucker has managed to get a winner in Writers of the Future every year for like the last 10 years.
Wow.
Don't know how he does. He's gifted. But he's got a lot of talent on getting books done. And he's got a lot of talent on getting books out there. And, I'm friends with your boy who runs Dragon Con and the guy who runs Fanex up in Utah. So I met Dragon Con, Pat Henry, over a bowl of tomato soup at a thing in Los Angeles. I go out to LA every year. I go out as press for LA every year. And I was sitting there with Bill Bill, and Bill goes, oh, let me introduce you to this guy. I didn't know who this guy was. Didn't really even care. I got a lot of stuff going on. I'm there for 10 days. They worked the hell out of me. He said, no, it's the owner of Dragon Con. I'm like, oh, really? Nice to meet you. And I said, oh, that soup smells really good. Let me get a bowl. And the sucker wouldn't stop until he gave me the bowl of damn soup. It's just weird. But anyway, enough of all of that. But yeah, when we get off, I'll get the information from you. I'll get it over to Carmen, and he can get you booked on. Because Carmen likes this kind of stuff. He was really good friends with Jim Mars. We were both good friends with Jim Mars. And so he likes to get into this as much as he can without pissing off his boss. Oh, well, look, you so handsome and pretty.
Yeah, Sexy Santa is what they call me, man.
You looking good.
That's what they call me, Sexy Santa.
Fucking Santa Claus, man. Ho, ho, ho. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Mark.
No, I'm glad you're here. We'll have to talk about more, great authors I can send to you.
Oh yeah.
I'm just glad to have a chance to talk with you again and be interviewed by an Ancient Aliens commentator.
Yeah, well, we're getting ready. We're getting ready to change the name of iCar and reboot it in a slightly different format than it used to be. Mainly because the old format, which was great, it just burned out directors. I mean, we went through directors like Jesus. I mean, it's a lot of research. There's a lot of work going on. And what's nice now is a lot of the primary research has been done the last 30 years. So a lot of that stuff we don't have to go back over. We've already got that research filed up. We already know what it is. So now we can move in a slightly different direction. And somebody said, oh, you're going to be MUFON. I said, no, we're not going to. MUFON will never be able to do what we do. I said, not that MUFON's a hater organization or anything. I said, they don't do what we do. I said, we're out there looking for why aliens want to talk to people or mess with people. So they're more into chasing lights in the skies and occasionally talking to a contactee. But that's not what we do. So we have 100. I think last time I checked, 134,000 abduction cases found. When I say that, ladies and gentlemen, that's cases that have been double checked. We get a lot more cases than that, but a lot of times they're just somebody says, well, it's impossible to do that many cases. You couldn't do that many, Joe. Well, of course I couldn't do that many, but we had 62,000 either directors or field directors or state directors. I said, that's a little bit easy. It's only like 2 cases per person. I'm like, they're like, oh yeah, huh? I'm like, people always want to hate, man. They just can't help themselves. They always want to hate. It's,
well, it was, kind of like one of my first, publishing things. What was just being a, co-author, if that's even the right word. But you in November gave me starts. Greg and Gia, I did too. I just really appreciate you guys helping me to get started. And 15 years later, here we are, still talking.
Yeah, well, that's what it's all about. I mean, eventually we'll be like the rest. I mean, we'll go to Way to Dodo Bird. But somebody asked me the other day if I was going to take on Whitley Strieber, and I'm like, why? He said, well, Joe, have you heard him lately? I said, yeah, I've heard him lately. I said, there's no reason for me to take him on. He's off in his tangent. Well, the other night I caught him on one of the shows on the network, Darkly Matters, and he was citing poetry. I was like, dude, what are you doing? Then he was singing. I'm like, phew. Then I happened to catch him yesterday talking about the light people, whatever one he wanted to call them. I was like, Jesus, dude, you've lost your mind. So there's no reason. I mean, he's like Stephen Gray. He's done it to himself. It's just sometimes it's just like, I used to say this a lot. All old ufologists go crazy eventually. So that's why I say I'm not a ufologist. I'm an abduction specialist because they do tend to go crazy. When you go back and look how many of them bit the big one, just whacked out. I'm waiting. I got a lot of friends on Ancient Aliens. Matter of fact, they had called me just recently, but they wanted to do some abduction stuff, and somehow I didn't get into it. I was like, and I got a call back, and the guy said, well, I don't understand why you're not in this one. I said, well, I have no idea. I said, I know more about abductions than anybody you've got on your damn show, that's for sure. But, I also have enemies in the field. I don't always play nice with children. So, hey, look, when I know I'm right, I'm right. I'm not going to back down just because somebody says, oh, well, we're right now. No, you're going to have to prove that to me. So, well, MUFON always hated me. I mean, I was good friends with Walt Anders. We were friends for a long time. Matter of fact, he was the first MUFON person to ever join ICAR, and he did it live on the air. We were good friends, but too many of the directors had black ops ties. So, and when you would send them data, it was like poof. I said, hey, look, I need that report. I sent you what report? I mean, what do you mean? Yeah, no, we don't have that report. So after a while, that's how ICAR got found, because I got tired of it. It's like that and Ariel St. Sinclair. I don't know if you were around that early, Eddie for Ariel, but he was a character. But yeah, make sure we get in touch so I can get you hooked up with Carmen, because Carmen likes all this stuff we're into, and he don't get to do enough of it because when he works for Writers of the Future, and so a lot of times he's tied up with that. But he really was a big fan of this kind of work. It's just like I said, he don't get to do much of it. But since it's my show, I can put whoever I want on it. Somebody asked me one time, well, that's Writers of the Future show. No, I said, no, there is a Writers of the Future show. I said, that's my show. I said, so anybody who wants to go on it can go on it. So, but we'll get you hooked up when we get done with the show today. And
thank you.
Something about somebody was telling me Sean was an alien. I'm not sure what that's about.
I am an alien. You all know that. I got probed. Joe, thank you, Joe, for popping on, man. Don't work too hard, all right?
No, I'm just hanging out, man. I'm just hanging out.
I'll put you in the back, okay?
Yeah, good. Put me wherever you need. I'm just hanging out. I'm actually doing work while I'm watching y'all.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. He can hear us. Joe Fox.
Cool.
Kevin wants to know how many YouTube chats are running. Have a feeling I am in a parallel room again. There's 3 running on my show tonight. CL's UFO Paranormal Radio and Pittsburgh Paranormal Society. Joe Fox says, I got a new Wi-Fi router today, but I refuse to hook it up until after your show tonight, Sean, just in case something went wrong. That is awesome, brother. I appreciate you, brother.
That's a devoted fan.
Oh, yes. All my people in this chat room are the best. I mean, they, that they are the best. But you know what? We're coming up on the 30-minute mark. It was a pleasure that Joe Montaldo, everybody who don't know, Joe Montaldo is the owner of UPRN Talk Radio. And it was really nice to for him to come on for a couple minutes and say hello to Mark and me and you guys, okay? So what I'm going to do, as you guys know, since Heidi is in the room, I'm going to play her favorite song so she can be happy, happy woman, happy life, I guess, if you want to put it that way. That's how we do it. But listen, so we're going to take a break. We'll be right back and see you in a little bit. Maybe about 3 minutes. I'll play 2. Let me find it. There it is. For you, Heidi.
I had enough.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out the reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, he commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing, especially without Vaseline or anything like that, Seriously. Six-gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, "Any last wish before you die?" Yo, reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, "Fill your claw, you son of a bitch." Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six-Gun Joe.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Into the Night with me, your host, Sean Kelly, along with my guest tonight, Mark Eddy, who is an author of the Ohio Valley's Antiquarians and what they discovered. Couple announcements real quick. I want to thank UPRN Talk Radio, 105.3 Mississippi, 107.7 New Orleans. And don't forget, Miss C.L. Thomas, her show's coming on right after mine. Okay, and her guest tonight is Brooke Ashley, and she's an evidential mediumship. So I think that's really, really cool. Thank you, Heidi. So Mark, explain, tell people about the Ohio Valley. Me and you know it. And there's really not too many people here that are in the chat room and out there in the world who's watching the show. Tell a little bit about the Ohio Valley and what makes it so important of the Antiquarians.
Okay, well, I'm sure most of the viewers remember Monday Night Football, and we get the Goodyear blimp flying over Three Rivers Stadium, and Howard would talk about coming out of the top part of your screen. That's the Allegheny River, and one coming up from the bottom of the screen's the Monongahela, and what's going out to the left-hand side of your screen is where the two rivers meet, and that forms the Ohio River. So Howard give you that little geography lesson. Well, this book is looking at basically the same area, but millions of years earlier.
What important things were found? You put in the book
because it was an inland sea at one time. That's why you get some of the salt wells, like in the Muskingum River Valley. Eventually get a swamp, and that's where you get all kinds of lizard fossils that were found. So, like some of your first researchers are discovering, like the Edaphosaurus, like lizard kind of animals. They had looks like a gecko lizard with a like blue marlin fin on its back. It's
okay.
Like what are those things doing here? You get shark teeth.
Pretty interesting. How about it down around what the hell, 3 Mile Island? You remember when all that crap went down over there at 3 Mile Island?
That's
the reactors blowing up.
It was that's you get that. That's kind of like the Susquehanna
no,
River.
it's right on the Ohio. They're right on the Ohio.
Oh, the I wasn't the 3 Mile. The Willow Island cooling tower collapse. Is that the one?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's that's where you get all kinds, more of the sailback lizards that they were found in that area as well. You have some evidence of mammoths and mastodons down there as well. So, so there's as the industrial industry was developing, you have you know the guys going out there, with their transits. They're kind of laying out. Okay, this coal seam's probably going to be going, in this direction. So the surveyors were and civil engineers were pretty accurate. And once the coal mines were set established, they're digging through the mines and they're coming across all these fossilized plants and animals. And so you start getting a lot of people coming here to research it, and they are discovering, okay, this seems more like it was, the Ohio Valley was more like a swamp, and some of the same researchers who are, keep returning to like the Smiths Ferry area, western Beaver County. They're encountering, just continuing to find all these sea scorpions, and it's kind of like I, I don't know what you call it, like a prehistoric lobster kind of critter. So it's okay. Seems like it's more of a. It was underwater, and it helped to pioneer the study of fossils, and you start getting the T-Rexes found. Let's say Wyoming. The researchers are vacating the valley and going out west, but you still had a few of these people coming back. They're still working for the coal industry. They're doing borings and things like that.
Did they do that kind of stuff here? Down in the Ohio Valley with the boring.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. They're drilling down, through different layers of rocks. They're finding how deep the coal seam is, and so like Frank Leverett, from the title of the book, I See White. They're also, as they're exploring the valley for geological purposes, they're also finding rocks, like shoreline, rounded pebbles near the ridge tops. So they're starting, to wonder, kind of, going from the inland sea to like these marshy kind of conditions. Was there a shoreline, like maybe like a river kind of shoreline? So they're first starting to pioneer these studies, say like the 1870s, and they realized it's this rounded pebbles are more, they're going angled from the south to north, and they started wondering, did something like the Ohio River flow south to north, like the Monongahela still does today,
Yeah.
and then they started realizing that what was
Thank you, Kevin.
as the rivers were flowing north and draining into Lake Erie, what was happening as the ice sheets were moving south. So at some point, you're going to have a collision between the ice and the southern flowing ice and the northern flowing rivers. So then you get all the water backing up, and as the water starts filling in places, well, it's going to erode into create hollows, valleys, to the east and west, and they were able to determine probably around 1,100 feet in elevation was about the shoreline.
Okay.
And then the what was the area around New Martinsville, West Virginia, had a coal, it's like all the like silt deposits from all the swamps.
Right. Okay.
Create.
Let me
Okay.
stop you right there for a minute. So this is a paranormal show. This is a mystical show. In your own opinion, and in all your studies that you have done, okay, do you think there's any paranormal or mystical things happened in any of your research here?
There.
You can say no if you want to. Sorry.
John Keel did state in the Mothman prophecies where some of the UFO sightings were located.
Okay.
That he documented. They are near where some mounds were located.
Okay, so I was going to ask you this question. What do you think of the Mothman? I'll tell you what, it's all joke. It's all lore. It's all it is. What do you think?
I still, I've been down, Point Pleasant, quite a few times. I really enjoy the festival. I just kind of wonder if the Mothman could be some kind of pterodactyl type creature that we have all kinds of prehistoric animals documented along the Ohio River Valley. Probably one of the best examples is the Big Bone Lick State Park in northern Kentucky. It's kind of across the river from Cincinnati. It's all the same river valley. Could something from the distant past still be alive? Maybe like maybe a small family. They aren't the huge pterodactyls from that we know from the fossils, but could they be gone through kind of like a dwarfing kind of phase? That it has been known to happen to some animals due to environmental conditions.
Okay.
So, that could be a possibility. that explains why people in Dunbar, the Point Pleasant area, may they all report without knowing each other and having Facebook 50 some years ago. Why do you have people reporting the same descriptions of some kind of animal?
You know what? True, and I understand where they're coming from, but personally, me, I did a lot of research on the Mothman, and I have my doubts about it. You know, I lost some friends over it, but you know what? That's my job. That's what a paranormal investigator does. That's what I do. So, but you know, so what you were telling me earlier was that. So if I walk down the banks of the Ohio River, I'm going to find a lot of fossils, right?
Yeah, that's probably a better place to find them. If it's all a lot of ferns and stuff that were all grown along the shoreline, that's probably
Okay,
some of the in the shale and coal that you might find along road cut,
right.
or falls out of the hillside into the streams. Yeah, you might there's a good chance you can find
I mean,
things like that.
I find this interesting.
Hmm.
Um, you're like the first one that I ever had on my show talking about this stuff. But Kurt says I think some of the thunderbirds that have been around here, some are pterodactyl or related.
Well,
Y'all also, Kurt, you got to realize too, buddy, you might have some turkey vultures up there, and I'll tell you what, they're huge. They look like pterodactyls. No
yeah,
lie.
well, yeah. See, I think Kurt's saying about this. I'm agreeing with Kurt.
Okay.
I think he brings up a very valid point. Maybe we don't know exactly what the people saw. The sandhill crane doesn't seem like it's a very valid argument. The turkey vultures. Could there be some link, evolutionary link, from the prehistoric animals that are actually well documented for the Ohio River Valley? How many mastodons were just traipsing up and down? Um,
That does sound interesting, dude. But
you
we
know,
have like about 3 or 4 minutes left,
mhm.
so what's in the works for you?
I'm
What you
gonna.
doing now?
I'm. Well, hopefully, I'm just like cute enough to be a background model with Michelle's crocheted ET. Maybe you'll see me back there if I pass the test. And afterwards, I think I'm going to continue working on more of the uh, animals that were uh, found in our neighborhood.
Okay.
Just keep developing that. I think this where you and I live helped to pioneer fossil studies. Like I said, the main researchers left the area, but I think we still offer a lot to be studied, and I think it's just really exciting. It just needs to be marketed a little bit better, but um, I think there's still a lot here to understand.
Okay. And hopefully that with all the research that you do, you'll learn more and actually um, come out with like 3 or 4 more books on the situation. Um,
Uh, that's kind of the
really good, Mark.
plan. Yeah,
That's
with
good.
with someone like Cheryl coaching me along the way, saying, okay, here, the point you make here, why don't develop that a little bit more. It she's really helpful in super having such a well-known name in anthropology, being in the background, helping me
Good.
tie together all the loose ends. It's made for a very rewarding project. So I'm going to keep plugging along at it. It just takes a while, but I I think what's here, and connects me to where you live. There's a fascinating history that's overlooked.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Uh,
hopefully we'll get down to it. About looking into it. I'm looking forward to some of your stuff that you'll be investigating, doing your research on. But we really do have to go because Seattle's coming up pretty soon. Where can people find you, Mark?
let's see. They can find Lakes Lizards, Linton and Leverett on Amazon. Busy with all kinds of things with Barbara DeLong, doing
She's
shows.
a sweetie. She's a sweetie.
She was a terrific guest for you.
Yes. Yes, she was.
Yeah,
Thank you, Joe.
yeah, she's at barbaradelong.com. You can see all the shows we have programmed onto her website. So that's where people can generally see what I'm doing. Be doing a kind of like a pair cryptid kind of show, themed show for about the next
Okay.
3 or 4 weeks.
Sounds interesting, brother. Hey, listen, we got to get going. All right, Mark, I want to thank you very much
Thank
for
you for
being
the
on the show
opportunity.
tonight. Yes, and just stick around. And Heidi says, Michelle says, thank me and Mark Eddy. Great information tonight. Kurt says, thank you, Sean and Mark. Awesome show. Heidi said the same. A lot of other people. Yeah, there it is. Sean, Mark, gratitude much. A lot of gratitude towards you too, Heidi. Very much so. Okay, everybody, listen. Thank you for popping in. Joe Fox says, thank you, Mark. Thank you for all popping in tonight to listen to a good guest, Mark Eddy. Children, if you can, please go to your parents and give them a hug and tell them that you love them. And parents, please go to your children, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And if you don't have no mother, parents, or you have no children, find somebody and give them a hug and tell them that you love them. Don't forget, because those 3 words, I love you, go a long way. And don't forget, Ciel's coming on with her guests on the Gateway Podcast with Brooke Ashley, Evidential Mediumship. And guess who's back next Sunday? Yes, the one and only Annabelle. Good night, everybody. Have a good night and talk to you real soon. Good night.